Here's a new book that I got yesterday, and it's about Japan. I really like both countries of Japan and China, because I think they have a really nice, interesting culture and art. So here's the contents page. The paper is a bit glossy, so you might not see it properly. So this book has a brief introduction about Japan, the whole country itself. It's got about the basic info, the culture, the nature, and the modern business side, and some other information. So here's the introduction about Japan, the map, the flag, and how Japan became Japan, if that makes sense. And it's still quite interesting, because not everyone agrees about where the Japanese people came from, but people have theories about it coming from South Korea, which is the closest neighbouring country, and China, because Japan is really isolated from any other country, and it's been kept isolated on purpose, like hundreds of years ago. So it's got a unique culture. This is about the urban lifestyle about Japan. Here's a picture of Tokyo, and there's more info about Tokyo. It's got this book's got really nice pictures, quite inspirational pictures. And here's a nice picture of Mount Fuji and some cherry blossoms. There's Mount Fuji, and this is a tea plantation. And there's a Shinto shrine. This is the gate. The castles in Nagoya, and another picture of Mount Fuji. And then it goes on to the temples and famous landmarks in Japan. And because Japan's such a small country, the graveyards are very densely not populated, it's very densely packed. Here's all the gravestones, and also Japan's quite a hilly country, so you can see that the cemeteries, they're not exactly flat, they have to try and find as much room as possible to, yeah. And then it goes on about Kyoto, another famous city in Japan. It's famous for its geishas and the kabuki theatres. And Osaka, it's a very modern city, very big, and it's famous for its shrines and modern architecture. And really nice castle, Osaka Castle, very nicely elaborated. And Kobe, it's a modern city, and they mix the traditional with the modern, with the nice Shinto shrine. And Hiroshima, if you've probably just recognised about they talk about the atom bomb, which unfortunately got detonated in this city and lost over 140,000 civilian lives, which it says in this book. And talking about what Hiroshima is like today, and the people, and it talks about different islands in Japan. So this is Shikoku Island in this quite south. Buddhist shrines. You can see that the Japanese calligraphy is similar to Chinese calligraphy, because the Japanese adopted the Chinese calligraphy. So they have a mix of kanji and like their own calligraphy. It's very similar. The language is different as well. The cherry blossoms in Japan looks very nice, and talks about different islands again. Northern Honshu Island, and the winter in Japan can be very harsh and cold, as you can see. More now it's Hokkaido, and then it goes on about the art and culture. So here's a samurai print, another Japanese print, geisha prints, and talks about how their language developed over hundreds of years. More info about geisha, pictures about geisha, real geisha and the dolls, and Japanese clothing, which hasn't changed, but it's very expensive because it's handmade and they use silk. Modern clothing, culture, Japanese fans, schools, the people, festivals,